Ooh. That's not the proper way of lighting up a candle, but you probably shouldn't do that. But, you know, don't get yourself hurt if you ever do. What is up, guys? It's Dinz here. Today we're going to be talking about the gear that I use in my studio, and a little story about my Hackintoshing journey in music production. So if you're interested in knowing about anything that I use, or interested in knowing about how a Hackintosh actually fits into my workflow, this is the video for you. So let's get started with the main thing in my studio, which is my studio monitors. So for me, I have used a lot of monitors in the past, and I settled on one right now, and that is the Kelly Audio LP6. The LP6 is great, like really great. Amazing. Here in Singapore, it costs only less than 500 actually, and it is actually really nice. It is competitive with other monitors in the price range. It is 6 inches. Just the response and how it sounds is just so great. It's great for listening, and for me, like, my philosophy, if that's the word, is I don't want it to sound too flat. Like, if it's too flat and it's not flattering, I can't mix. Like, I can't mix and I can't master on it, because you have to have a little bit of like color to actually, you know, be excited about your mixes and stuff. I'm not a fan of mixing it like flat, but you know, it's all personal preference, and if it fits you, it fits your ears, just have to learn what you have, and that's great. So next up, we have the thing that ties the monitors together with my DAW, and that is my audio interface. The audio interface that I'm using now is the Solid State Logic, or the SSL 2. So it's a really great audio interface for what it is. Like, it's really solidly built. I've had my hands on an SSL before, an SSL console. It's actually one of the consoles in school, in one of my school studios. So the knobs, everything feels SSL, and for the price, you're getting what you paid for. I don't use the 4K button, although it's there, but it's there if you ever need some harmonic distortion, coloring on your 4K, whatever that is. It's there. Previously, I used the Audion ID4, and I've also, like, back then I used a Tascam one, but you know, over the years you tend to upgrade, and you don't have to like start so big. In fact, to make great music, you don't have to get the SSL. You could get like a Focusrite or an Amp Audio. It all works the same until you really get into like the deep details of your monitors and getting more expensive monitors. If you're just gonna be making music starting out, any interface is great for the price, in all honesty. As long as it has the outputs that you need for your monitors, all good, man. Next up, we have my keyboard of choice, actually. I've had this ever since the start of school. I'm from a music course, so I had to get a keyboard from year 1. And I went with the Novation Launch Key 49. It's been with me for 3 years. Fun fact about my keyboard is like, the mod wheel and the pitch wheel is like broken. So I was there was this one time I was playing a black show, and I totally didn't realize that my mod wheel was affecting my synth, and it was like out of tune. So I was playing out of tune keys, and I was wondering why is it out of tune. Like, I was trying my best to like figure it out. And after the show, I finally realized that it's just the mod wheel and the pitch wheel that was going all crazy. So I tore it apart, and I just disconnected it, and it's all fine now. So I mean, I don't use it, so it's not a deal breaker for me. Next up, we have my screens. So I have 3 screens. I have one beside me, and one in front of me, and one more on the wall. For my main screen, I have LG Ultrawide. If you want to purchase the LG Ultrawide, which you should if you've been planning to get one, links in the description down below. Everything I'm talking about is in the description down below, and it's so great. Like, I really love it. Like, when I'm working on tracks and stuff, I get a really widescreen view of my timeline, and especially in my mixer when I'm mixing, it's a widescreen view, man. I can't complain. It's really nice. Apart from that, I got my TV that is on the wall. Most of the times my TV will be running like my monitoring kind of plugins. So when I'm mixing and I'm mastering, I usually have like my meters up there. When I'm just producing music, I splice up there to just, like, you know, be able to like go through samples and like drag and drop and all this kind of stuff. And my side monitor here, I usually when I'm mixing, I put my session view on the monitor and have my mixer up on the main monitor, so I could easily like look at the session and easily look at the mixer itself. So that's how I've been using it. And also I game on the side monitor, so that's why it's there. Moving on to the part that y'all have been waiting for, which is the Hackintosh. So for those of you that hasn't heard of what a Hackintosh is, it's essentially a normal kind of computer that is not a Mac, and you're basically just installing macOS on it. That's it. So I've gone through a few Hackintoshes, and this is like my third. My experience with them has been both good and bad. So my first Hackintosh was Intel NUC. I think it was 8th Gen. It was an i7 machine. I decked it up with 16 GB of RAM, SSD and everything. So it was a very powerful machine. It ran amazingly well. Like in terms of logic, I could go on and on and on with Serum plugins on the session and it wouldn't be dying. But I had one problem with it. I couldn't install a graphics card. That's where I get into my second Hackintosh, which actually replaces the NUC. So the NUC was really great, although it had some thermal issues because it was small, but I really loved it, and it was so portable that I was able to bring it like a laptop to any studio and any workspace that I need to do my projects on. So fast forward a few months, I switched over to a Ryzen machine. It was a Ryzen 1600. It was a great machine. It fulfilled everything that I needed to do, but with issues. Stepping into this, I know that it's not a real Mac, and I'll be bound to face issues, and I gotta be patient with it. But I faced a few issues that I couldn't find a solution to. So one of the issues that I had was like things wouldn't install properly. Mind you, I was on Mojave. I couldn't install my isotope plugins. Like the installer just wouldn't open. Like it literally wouldn't open for some reason. I have no idea why. I just didn't know what to do with it. So with that, I was trying to find a solution, and another thing also came up, and that is my Spotlight just wouldn't stop indexing. So it was like taking a toll on my CPU, and and my disk obviously, and it led to a few crashes here and there. Sometimes the Hackintosh would just like freeze and I can't do anything, and sometimes the Hackintosh would also like stop starting up programs. So I was really annoyed by it. Yeah, it just is not working out. So then came a solution, which is basically replacing the motherboard and the CPU to an Intel version. So thanks to my good friend Don, who's actually also part of Finz Digital, if y'all didn't know, he'll be doing some videos soon regarding mixing and all this kind of stuff. He's the guy to go for mixing, and personally he's one of my favorite guys to go for mixing. Thanks to him, I'm able to get an Intel board and a CPU running in the shortest amount of time I could, because like I had like a lot of work to do in terms of music production, doing videos like this, and I really needed my Hackintosh to work. So it was delivered to me because in this COVID period, we can't really go out. When I got it, I installed the CPU, I installed the board, installed it back to my case, even added some RGB lighting on top of that. Shout out to HueX Lighting, by the way, who's also lighting up the back, and it didn't boot. So me not wanting to give up, I kind of like fell asleep while I was trying to diagnose it, and in the end, I switched over from OpenCore to Clover. Like I didn't have any issues with OpenCore with my previous Hackintoshes. Like it was great. Like OpenCore was something that I was used to, and it was something that I'm familiar with. But now, because of this, I am sticking to Clover for now. For some reason, it wouldn't boot. Like I had my config playlist all settled. It was custom for my Mac. I even followed the tutorials on what to adjust in the BIOS. I'm using the Z390 Asus Aorus Pro I Wi-Fi. It just wouldn't start. So I went into Clover, followed the tutorial, and I was so happy when it started. It installed perfectly fine, except for Wi-Fi obviously. So I was really happy with it. All my apps installed fine. Adobe started off all good. I mean, there was a fix for Adobe on AMD. It works. But you know, it's just satisfying to see Adobe just working out of the box, and I'm suspecting that it's due to it being Intel, and like it's more natively supported as a Mac, because it is an Intel machine instead of an AMD machine, and all Macs are Intel machines. For now it works, and I'm really happy with it. I have no problems with it. Everything works fine. Being used to i7 kind of power from my NUC and my Ryzen 5 machine, it is really buttery smooth as per usual. I'm able to stack tracks on Serum. I'm able to have a lot of synth without freezing, and I have no complaints. Everything works fine. There's obviously some Hackintosh quirks here and there that I still have to figure out, but I would say it's stable. Like, I've used the NUC before for a lot of my projects. In fact, I actually used the NUC for one of my school projects, which I was doing a total of like 15 songs with me and my friends, and it really handled it like a champ for the size and the power that it has. And it didn't crash on me. It was really stable. Did a lot of recordings on it, and yeah, I was really happy with it. So that's it. If you are curious on installing a Hackintosh, or if you're curious on building one for your studio, now is the best time to build a Hackintosh for your studio. It's really great. I've used the 2013 MacBook, I've used a 2016 MacBook, I've also used an iMac before, and nothing works well as my Hackintosh now. So it is what it is. And if you're wondering how to install everything, I'll leave a few guides below in the description so that you can install it for yourself. If you have any questions on installing a Hackintosh, there's also great forums out there that will really help you. Tony Mac x86 is there. If you're using OpenCore, there's the OpenCore forum. There's a lot of forums where you can really know how to install a Hackintosh. Let me know if you're using a Hackintosh for your studio, and if you're planning to build one, let me know what specs you're gonna deck it out with and all in the description down below. If you have experience with it, let me know how has it been for you. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, press the like button below if you enjoyed this video, and share it with someone who has been thinking about making a Hackintosh, you know. That's it for me today. I'm Dinz, signing out.